The stars looked different through the observation window of the horizon dawn. Taeyang had spent 20 years in the military, but nothing prepared him for this moment. 3 alien ships hung in the darkness above Earth, each one larger than any human vessel ever built. They arrived exactly 1 hour after humanity's first faster-than-light test flight succeeded. Taeyang stood in the main conference room, his hands clasped behind his back. His role as chief security officer meant he needed to watch everything carefully. Next to him, Hana adjusted her translator device for the 5th time. She was nervous, though she tried to hide it. As the ship's diplomatic officer, she would do most of the talking with the aliens. "They're here," Ji-won said quietly from her station. The young tactical officer stared at her screens with intense focus. "3 beings are transporting to our docking bay now." Captain Dae-hyun nodded. "Let's greet our guests properly." The docking bay doors opened with a soft hiss. 3 figures walked through, and Taeyang felt his breath catch. They were nothing like humans. The first one resembled a large insect with 4 arms and golden plates covering its body. The second was shorter, covered in blue fur with large eyes that seemed to see everything at once. The third floated above the ground, its body translucent and constantly shifting colors. "Greetings," Hana said, stepping forward with a smile. "Welcome to the Horizon Dawn. We are honored by your presence." The insect-like being made a clicking sound. A moment later, Taeyang's translator spoke. "We are representatives of the Galactic Council. I am Counselor Vex of the Valorian Empire. These are my associates." Taeyang noticed something strange. When Hana stepped forward, all 3 aliens moved backward slightly. When she extended her hand in greeting, the blue-furred one actually flinched. It was subtle, but Taeyang's military training taught him to notice such things. "Please come to our conference room," Dae-hyun said. "We have much to discuss." The walk to the conference room was interesting. The aliens moved slowly, almost carefully. They kept looking around as if expecting danger. Taeyang walked normally, but he saw them watching his every step with what seemed like concern. In the conference room, the aliens refused the chairs humans offered. Instead, they remained standing, maintaining distance from their hosts. Counselor Vex began speaking without any small talk. "Your species has achieved faster-than-light travel. This means you are now eligible for contact with the Galactic Council. We have been watching your world for many cycles. We're excited to meet other intelligent species," Hana said warmly. "We have so many questions about the galaxy." Vex made another clicking sound. "The galaxy is vast and dangerous. Your species is fortunate to have survived this long. Your world is what we classify as a death world." Ji-won frowned. "Death world? Your planet has extreme gravity," the floating alien said, its voice like wind chimes. "Your atmosphere is corrosive. Your weather patterns are violent. Your wildlife is unusually aggressive. Most species could not survive 1 day on your world without protection." Taeyang exchanged glances with Dae-hyun. Earth seemed perfectly normal to them. It was just home. "We have come with an offer," Vex continued. "The Galactic Council recognizes that your species is fragile and needs protection. The Valorian Empire offers to become your guardians. We will protect you from the dangers of space." "That's very generous," Hana said carefully. "What would this protection involve?" "You would become a protected species under Valorian authority," Vex explained. "All human military forces would be disbanded. All weapons research would cease. You would accept population limits to prevent resource depletion. In return, Valorian ships would defend your world from external threats." The room went very quiet. Taeyang felt his muscles tense. This wasn't an offer of friendship. This was a demand for surrender. Dae-hyun spoke calmly. "We appreciate your concern for our well-being. However, humanity prefers to stand on its own feet. We would be interested in an alliance between equals, not a guardian relationship." All 3 aliens seemed shocked. The blue-furred one made a squeaking sound. "Equals, but you are a newly emerged species. You have no understanding of galactic politics or warfare." "Then we'll learn," Ji-won said simply. Vex's mandibles clicked rapidly. "You do not understand. This is not a negotiation. This is how the galaxy works. Strong species protect weak ones." "You are weak. We don't feel weak," Taeyang said quietly. His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. The aliens all turned to look at him. He stood relaxed, but he noticed them all take another step backward. "Why did they keep doing that?" "Your feelings are irrelevant to reality," Vex said. "Look at you. Thin skin with no natural armor. Weak bones that break easily. No claws, no venom, no natural weapons. You are prey species who got lucky. Hana maintained her diplomatic smile, though Taeyang could see the anger in her eyes. We may not have claws, but we have intelligence and determination. Intelligence is common in the galaxy, the floating alien said. Determination means nothing against superior force. A service bot rolled into the room carrying refreshments. It stopped near Taeyang. Without thinking, he reached down and lifted the supply crate it carried, moving it to the table. The crate weighed about 40 kilograms, standard weight for human cargo. All three aliens jumped backward. The blue-furred one actually made a frightened sound. They stared at Taeyang as if he had just pulled out a weapon. What's wrong? Taeyang asked, confused. You just lifted that container, Vex said. Without assistance. Without mechanical enhancement. It's not that heavy, Taeyang said. That mass would require 2 Valorian soldiers with powered armor to move. Vex said slowly. You lifted it with one hand, casually. Jiwon looked at the crate, then at the aliens, then back at the crate. Wait, how strong are you? The blue-furred alien made a sound like a sigh. I can lift approximately 8% of my body weight without assistance. That is normal for most species. 8%? Daehyun repeated. Humans can lift. Well, it varies, but trained humans can lift several times their body weight. The aliens were silent for a long moment. Then Vex spoke, his voice different now. Less confident. This changes nothing. Raw strength is meaningless in space combat. Technology is what matters. Of course, Hana agreed, though her tone suggested she knew something had shifted in the conversation. Vex straightened. We will give you 1 standard galactic cycle to consider our offer. That is 14 of your days. We expect your answer then. Choose wisely. The galaxy is not kind to species who refuse protection. The 3 aliens left quickly, moving faster than they had when they arrived. Taeyang watched them go, his mind working through what just happened. They're afraid of us, Jiwon said softly. Did you see how they reacted? They think we're weak, Daehyun said. But they're also terrified. That's a dangerous combination. Hana nodded slowly. We need to learn everything we can about galactic society in the next 2 weeks. Something tells me we're not as weak as they think we are, and that might make them more dangerous, not less. Taeyang looked out at the 3 massive alien ships hanging in space. Humanity had just made first contact with an advanced galactic civilization. But instead of friendship and cooperation, they had received a demand for submission. The question now was what would happen when humanity said no. The stars didn't look so beautiful anymore. They looked like the opening to a much more complicated future than anyone had imagined. 3 weeks had passed since the Galactic Council's ultimatum. Humanity's answer had been polite but firm. No. They would join the Council as equals or not at all. The aliens had not responded well to this decision. Taeyang stood in the Galactic Council headquarters, a massive station orbiting a blue giant star. Getting here required using the coordinates the Council provided, along with their FTL technology. Around him, dozens of alien species moved through the corridors. Some walked, some floated, some slithered. All of them stared at the human delegation with wide eyes and nervous gestures. They're all scared of us, Jiwon whispered. She carried a standard tablet and nothing else, but aliens moved aside when she approached, as if she carried a weapon. Stay calm, Hana advised. We're here to talk, not fight. Counselor Vex met them in a chamber filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The room was enormous, designed to accommodate species of all sizes and environmental needs. Some aliens sat in water tanks. Others breathed different gases through special masks. The diversity was amazing. Humans, Vex announced to the assembly, you have refused our generous offer. Before the council makes its next decision, we wish to understand you better. Please demonstrate your normal physical capabilities. Daehyun raised an eyebrow. Our normal capabilities? Yes. Show us how your species moves and functions in your natural state. The request seemed strange, but Hana nodded. Taeyang, would you mind? Taeyang stepped into the center of the chamber. Hundreds of alien eyes watched him. He felt like an animal in a zoo, but he understood this was important. He started simple, jogging in place. The movement was easy, natural, but the aliens gasped. He's moving so fast, someone whispered. Fast? He was barely jogging. Taeyang increased his pace, running properly now. The gasps turned into sounds of alarm. He stopped, confused. Is something wrong? A small reptilian alien near the front spoke up. You can maintain that speed? For how long? Well, I can run at this pace for maybe an hour if I need to, Tae-Yang said. I'm not a marathon runner, though. Some humans can run for hours without stopping. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Vex raised one of his forearms for silence. Impossible. No species can maintain rapid movement for extended periods. The energy requirements are too high. Ji-Won pulled up data on her tablet. Actually, humans are persistence hunters. Our ancestors ran down prey animals until they collapsed from exhaustion. We can't sprint as fast as some animals, but we can run longer than almost anything. Show us more, a floating jellyfish-like creature requested. Tae-Yang looked around and saw a raised platform about 2 meters high. Without thinking much about it, he jumped and grabbed the edge, pulling himself up. More gasps echoed through the chamber. That's impossible, Vex said flatly. You jumped nearly your own height. Gravity should prevent that. Earth has higher gravity than most worlds, Hana explained gently. What seems normal to us might seem extreme to you. An elderly alien near the back, one that looked like a tree with eyes, spoke in a creaking voice. Let me understand this correctly. Your species evolved on a high-gravity world. You can run for extended periods. You can jump great heights. You demonstrated strength that would require our soldiers to use powered armor. What else can your species do? Daehyun thought about it. We can climb, swim, throw objects with accuracy, endure extreme temperatures, and heal from injuries that would kill most species. And you consider this normal? Vex asked. Everyone on Earth can do these things to some degree, Daehyun confirmed. Some humans are much better than others, but yes, these are basic human abilities. The chamber fell silent. Tae-Yang could see the aliens processing this information, and he could see fear in many of their expressions. Ambassador Kren, a methane-breathing being in a protective suit, spoke carefully. Tell us about your history. How did your species survive on such a hostile world? Hana stepped forward. This was her area of expertise. Humanity's history is long and complicated. For most of our existence, we competed with other dangerous predators. We survived by being adaptable and working together. We formed groups, what we call tribes or packs. We protected each other. And what about wars? Another alien asked. The question hung in the air. Hana took a breath. Humanity has fought many wars. Throughout our history, different human groups competed for resources, territory, and survival. We've fought with stones, with metal, with explosives, and with technology. War has shaped much of our development. How many wars? Vex asked. Thousands, Hana admitted. Maybe tens of thousands, depending on how you count them. The chamber erupted again. Aliens spoke rapidly in dozens of languages. The translators struggled to keep up. Finally, Vex called for order. Let me understand, he said slowly. Your species has fought thousands of wars. Against each other. While living on a death world, and you survived. We did more than survive, Ji-Won said quietly. We thrived. We built civilizations, created art, developed science, and eventually reached the stars. This is why we offered protection, Vex said. Your species is clearly damaged by your harsh world. You know only violence and struggle. You need guidance from more peaceful species. Tae-Yang felt anger rise in his chest, but before he could speak, Daehyun stepped forward. You misunderstand us, the captain said firmly. Yes, we fought wars. Yes, our world is harsh, but those things taught us valuable lessons. We learned to cooperate despite our differences. We learned to solve problems. We learned that strength should be used to protect, not to dominate. Pretty words, Vex said, but the evidence suggests otherwise. At that moment, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed. A voice announced in multiple languages, Emergency. Human incident at Proxima Trade Station. Multiple casualties reported. Every eye in the chamber turned to the human delegation. Vex's mandibles clicked rapidly. What have your people done? We don't know, Hana said, pulling up communications. But let's find out before making assumptions. The main view screen activated, showing shaky footage from Proxima Trade Station. What they saw made several aliens cry out in alarm. A human woman, middle-aged and ordinary-looking, stood over a Valorian soldier. The soldier was sprawled on the ground, his armor dented. The woman looked angry but not violent. The footage rewound, showing what happened. The soldier had tried to physically remove the woman from her mining claim. He grabbed her arm. She responded by throwing him away from her. The casual way she did it, like brushing away an insect, was shocking. The Valorian soldier in full armor flew across the room and hit the wall hard. "This is Sunja," Daehyun said, recognizing her from the mining registry. "She's a miner. Not a soldier. Just a regular person." "A regular person," Vex repeated slowly. "Who just disabled a Valorian soldier in full combat armor?" With her bare hands. He grabbed her first, Jiwon pointed out. She was defending herself. She barely tried, another alien whispered. "Look at her face. She's not even breathing hard." The footage continued. More Valorian soldiers arrived. Sunja raised her hands peacefully and tried to explain, but the soldiers backed away from her, their weapons drawn. Kren spoke softly. "We have made a grave miscalculation. We assumed humans were weak because you lacked natural armor and weapons. We did not understand that you are the weapons." "We're not weapons," Hana said urgently. "We're people. Yes, we're stronger than you expected. Yes, we can fight if we must. But we prefer peace. We came here seeking friendship, not conflict." Vex turned away from the screen. When he looked at the humans again, his whole demeanor had changed. "The council must discuss this new information. You will wait in the guest quarters, under guard, for your protection and ours." As security escorts led them away, Taeyang heard the debates beginning behind them. The aliens were frightened. They saw humans as a threat. And frightened people, whether human or alien, often made terrible decisions. In their quarters, the four humans sat in silence for a while. Finally, Jiwon spoke. "They think we're monsters. They think we're dangerous," Daehyun corrected. "And they're not entirely wrong. We are dangerous. Every human is a trained survivor from a death world. But being dangerous doesn't make us monsters." Hana stared at her hands. "How do we prove that we want peace when everything about us screams danger to them?" Taeyang didn't have an answer. None of them did. First contact was supposed to be exciting, a moment of unity between species. Instead, it had become a crisis. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, but they had entered it as something terrifying. Outside their window, alien ships gathered. More arrived every hour. The galaxy was deciding what to do about humanity, and humanity had no idea how to convince them they came in peace. Hyunwoo hated violence. As a former combat medic, he had seen enough blood and death to last several lifetimes. After leaving the military, he became a trader, traveling between human colonies and now cautiously to alien stations. Proxima Trade Station was supposed to be neutral ground, a place where different species could meet and exchange goods peacefully. That peace shattered when the Krill raiders attacked. The first explosion rocked the station's main marketplace. Hyunwoo was negotiating the price of rare minerals with a four-armed merchant when the blast threw them both to the ground. Emergency alarms screamed. People ran in every direction. "Young Mi," Hyunwoo shouted into his communicator. His business partner and pilot was 2 levels up, arranging docking fees. "I'm okay," her voice came back. "What's happening?" "Raiders. Get to the ship," and another explosion cut him off. Through the smoke, Hyunwoo saw figures in black armor pouring into the marketplace. They carried energy weapons and moved with the confidence of people who expected no resistance. The Krill raiders had a reputation across the galaxy. They attacked soft targets, stole everything valuable, and killed anyone who resisted. The station's security force appeared, about 20 aliens in light armor carrying stunners. The raiders opened fire immediately. The security force scattered. Some ran, some tried to hide. Not one of them returned fire. Hyunwoo stared in disbelief. The security team was running away. They were abandoning hundreds of civilians. A family of small rabbit-like aliens huddled behind a vendor stall near him. A raider approached them, his weapon raised. The father tried to shield his children with his body, but he was tiny and fragile. Hyunwoo moved without thinking. Years of medical training took over. He sprinted across the marketplace, grabbed a metal rod from a destroyed stall and swung it at the raider. The impact knocked the raider's weapon aside. The raider turned surprised and Hyunwoo hit him again, harder this time. The raider collapsed. "Run!" Hyunwoo told the family. They ran. More raiders were spreading through the station. Hyunwoo saw other humans in the crowd, maybe a dozen total. Most were traders or miners. One was a teenager on vacation with her family. They caught each other's eyes and something unspoken passed between them. Young Mi's voice came through the communicator. "Hyunwoo, I see raiders heading for the residential section. There are children there." "I know," he said. "Are you armed?" I have my service pistol from my cargo pilot days. You? Just picked up a raider's weapon. Listen, I'm gonna do something stupid. You're going to fight them. It wasn't a question. People need help. Young me was quiet for exactly 2 seconds. Section 7, main corridor. I'll meet you there. Hyunwoo ran toward the residential section. Another human, a miner named Tae-min, ran beside him. I'm with you, Tae-min said simply. You don't have to. Yes, I do. They found young me at the intersection. She had already positioned herself behind a support beam, her pistol ready. Blood ran down her left arm. You're hurt, Hyunwoo said, his medic training kicking in. Plasma burn. Not serious. There are 12 raiders coming this way. The station master tried to negotiate with them. She pointed at a body on the floor. That's what happened. Station Master Quinn had governed Proxima for 40 years. He was a gentle being who believed in peace and cooperation. Now he was dead, killed for trying to talk. More humans arrived. By the time the raiders reached the residential section, 14 humans blocked their path. None of the humans were soldiers. None of them had military-grade weapons, but all of them shared the same expression: determination. Raid Commander Thex led the group. He was huge, nearly 3 meters tall, with thick armor and a weapon that could vaporize a person. He stopped when he saw the humans. Move aside, he ordered. We will take what we want. Resist and die. No, Hyunwoo said simply. Thex laughed. You are 14. We are 30. You have small weapons. We have superior firepower. You will lose. Probably, Young Mi agreed. But you'll have to go through us first. The raiders opened fire. The humans scattered using cover, moving in patterns that seemed random but weren't. Hyunwoo realized the other humans were using basic military tactics. Even the teenager moved like someone with training. Maybe all humans learned this. Maybe their violent history had made it instinctive. The first raider who tried to rush their position went down when Tae-min hit him with a wrench. The second fell to Youngmi's pistol fire. The third made it through but found himself facing 4 humans in close quarters. He discovered that humans, even civilian humans, were very good at close combat. What happened next would be analyzed by military strategists across the galaxy for years. 14 humans, poorly armed, held off 30 professional raiders for 40 minutes. They used the environment, turning the station's corridors into a maze of ambush points. They worked together without speaking, communicating through gestures and understanding. Young Mai took another plasma burn protecting an alien child. She shoved the child behind her and kept fighting, not even acknowledging the pain. Later, alien observers would struggle to understand this. Why didn't she retreat when injured? Why did she prioritize a stranger's child over her own safety? Hyunwoo coordinated their defense using simple military hand signals. The fact that all the humans understood these signals confused the raiders. These were supposed to be civilians, traders, and tourists. Why did they move like soldiers? The truth was simple but hard for aliens to grasp. Every human was a potential soldier. Their history demanded it. Their world shaped them for it. They might choose peace, but they could always choose to fight. Thex watched his raiders fall one by one. They had superior weapons, superior numbers, superior armor. But the humans had something else. They didn't stop. A raider who took a hit would retreat to recover. A human who took a hit would keep fighting. The pain didn't seem to matter to them. Fall back, Thex finally ordered. Of his 30 raiders, 14 were down. Dead or unconscious, it didn't matter. He had lost nearly half his force to 14 civilians. The humans didn't chase them. They held their position until the raiders fled the station entirely. Only then did they lower their weapons. Hyunwoo immediately started treating injuries. Youngmi's burns were serious but not life-threatening. Tae-min had a broken rib. The teenager had a concussion. Others had various wounds. But all 14 humans had survived. The aliens who witnessed the fight slowly emerged from hiding. They stared at the humans with a mixture of awe and terror. One of them, a bird-like being, approached Hyunwoo cautiously. Why did you fight? She asked. You could have hidden. You could have escaped to your ship. Why did you risk your lives for strangers? Hyunwoo looked at her, confused by the question. Because people needed help. But they were not your people. Not your species. They were people, Youngmi said, wincing as Hyunwoo treated her burn. That's enough. The bird-like alien's feathers ruffled in what might have been distress. I do not understand. Your species is so willing to die for others. This is not rational behavior. Maybe not, Hyunwoo admitted. But it's human behavior. Station security finally returned now that the danger was past. They found 14 humans sitting among the wounded, sharing medical supplies and water. The head of security, a being named Kix, looked at the scene with all three of his eyes. "The raiders are gone?" he asked. "Yes," Yunwoo confirmed. "You drove them off. 14 of you. We didn't have much choice." Kix made a sound like grinding stones. It might have been respect or fear. "I have sent a full report to the Galactic Council. They need to understand what I witnessed here today." "What did you witness?" the teenager asked. Her name was Bora, and she was only 19 years old. "I witnessed something the galaxy has not seen in 1,000 years, Kix said slowly. "I witnessed warriors who fight not for conquest or plunder, but for protection. I witnessed beings who would rather die than abandon the helpless. I do not have words in any language for what I witnessed." Young Mai stood up slowly, testing her injured arm. "You witnessed humans being humans. Nothing special, but it was special. As word of the Proxima incident spread across the galaxy, every species had to reconsider what they knew about humanity. The humans weren't just strong or tough or resilient. They were something more dangerous. They were protective. They formed bonds with strangers. They fought for people they had just met." In the Galactic Council chambers, Counselor Vex received the report from Proxima. He read it 3 times, hoping he had misunderstood. But the facts were clear. They are all soldiers. Station Master Kix had written before his death. Every single human is a warrior, even when they claim to be peaceful. But they are not warriors like we understand. They do not fight for glory or wealth. They fight to protect. We have welcomed a species of guardians into the galaxy, and we have treated them as threats. This was a grave mistake. Vex set down the report and looked at his fellow counselors. "We need to revise our assessment of humanity. Immediately." But another counselor, a military commander from the Valorian Empire, had different thoughts. "We need to eliminate them before they become a threat to galactic order." The galaxy stood at a crossroads. How they responded to humanity would determine the future of countless worlds. Admiral Sion He stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Unity, watching 300 Valorian warships arrange themselves in attack formation. Her own fleet consisted of 47 ships, hastily assembled in the 3 months since first contact. The math was simple and brutal. They were outnumbered more than 6 to 1. "Admiral," her communication officer said quietly, "Supreme Commander Valth is hailing us again. Put him through." The main screen showed Valth in his command throne. He was impressive by any standard, a being bred for war across generations. His armor gleamed with honors from a dozen campaigns. Behind him, the bridge of his flagship displayed the organized efficiency of a military force that had never known defeat. "Admiral Sion He," Valth said, his voice carrying the weight of authority. "This is your final chance. Surrender Earth to Valorian protection. Your resistance is pointless. You must see this." Sion He kept her face neutral. "Supreme Commander, we've told you our position. Humanity will not submit to foreign rule. Then you doom your species to extinction." Valth leaned forward. "I do not wish to destroy Earth. Despite your disturbing capabilities, you are still a young species. With proper guidance, you could have a place in the galaxy. But you must accept that you cannot stand against us. You have 300 ships," Sion He acknowledged. "We have 47. You have weapons that could crack our planet. We have barely enough ships to defend our orbital space. By any logical measure, you should win this fight easily. Then why do you resist? Because surrendering is not logical either. You claim you'll protect us, but your protection means the end of human freedom. We'd rather die free than live as pets." Valth's expression shifted. Among his species, such statements were considered insane. "You would sacrifice your entire civilization for abstract concepts like freedom?" "Yes," Sion He said simply. The channel closed. Valth needed to report this to the Valorian High Command. They would struggle to understand humanity's position. Most galactic species valued survival above all else. They surrendered when facing overwhelming force. It was logical, rational, and sensible. Humans were apparently none of those things. In the conference room behind the bridge, Tai Yang, Hana, Ji-Wan, and Dae-hyun joined Sion He and a civilian named Min Seok. The xenobiologist had spent the last 3 months studying everything about galactic species that Earth's databases contained. "Tell them what you learned," Sion He said. Min Seok pulled up charts and data. "Galactic warfare is nothing like human warfare. It's ritualized, limited, and designed to minimize casualties. When two galactic forces fight, they exchange fire until one side has taken approximately 2 to 3% casualties. Then that side surrenders. It's considered barbaric to continue fighting beyond that point. 2 to 3%? Tae-Yang repeated, stunned. That's nothing. In human military history, battles with 10 times that casualty rate were considered victories. Exactly, Min-seok said. Galactic species can't handle real combat psychologically. Most of them evolved as prey animals or in environments without significant predators. They're not mentally equipped for sustained violence. When faced with serious danger, their instinct is to flee or surrender, not fight. Ji-won was already working on her tactical display. So if we make this fight costly enough, they'll break, Min-seok finished. Their ships are tougher, their weapons stronger, but their crews aren't prepared for a real war. We are. Hana looked troubled. You're talking about killing them. A lot of them. I'm talking about surviving, Min-seok said. They came here to conquer us. They chose this. What happens if we win? Daehyun asked. What happens to galactic peace? There is no galactic peace, Seon-hee said. There's galactic order maintained through threat of force. The Valorian Empire rules because everyone is afraid of them. If we beat them, we become the new thing everyone fears. Better feared than enslaved, Tae-Yang said. The communication officer's voice came through the intercom. Admiral Valth is requesting a demonstration of firepower. He wants to prove their superiority. Seon-hee smiled grimly. Tell him he can demonstrate on the moon Deimos. It's uninhabited and scheduled for mining anyway. They watched on the main screen as the Valorian fleet focused fire on the small moon. For 10 seconds, concentrated energy beams struck the surface. When the light faded, a crater 5 kilometers wide scarred the moon's face. The demonstration was clear. The Valorian Empire could destroy Earth whenever it wished. Impressive, Seon-hee said calmly. Thank you for the information, Supreme Commander. Valth appeared on screen again, confused. Information? Now we know exactly how much power your weapons generate and how your ships coordinate fire. Very helpful. Our tactical officers are already calculating optimal counter-strategies. For the first time, Valth looked uncertain. You treat this as data collection? We just demonstrated we can annihilate your world. Yes, you can, Seon-hee agreed. But you won't, because if you destroy Earth, you gain nothing. You're here to conquer, not exterminate. That gives us options. The channel closed. Ji-won was already updating her tactical plans based on the weapons demonstration. Their fire coordination is impressive but predictable. They use standard formation patterns. If we break formation and attack individually, they'll struggle to respond. That's suicide, Hana protested. Our ships can't survive concentrated fire from multiple Valorian vessels. They don't have to survive long, Ji-won said. Just long enough to do damage. If every human ship can take out even one Valorian vessel before being destroyed, we cut their fleet by 15%. That's enough to break them psychologically. Tae-Yang studied the tactical display. You're talking about kamikaze runs. I'm talking about asymmetric warfare, Ji-won corrected. We can't fight a conventional battle, so we don't. We use every advantage we have, our willingness to take casualties, our ability to improvise, our experience with real war. The deadline passed. Earth sent no surrender. Valth, bound by the honor codes of his people, ordered the attack to begin. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for generations. The Valorian fleet advanced in perfect formation, expecting to exchange measured fire with the human fleet. Instead, the human ships scattered in all directions, abandoning any pretense of organized defense. It looked like panic. It was tactical genius. Individual human ships attacked from unexpected angles, moving in ways that made no sense by galactic standards. They rammed Valorian vessels when their weapons ran dry. They used debris fields for cover. They targeted command ships specifically, knowing that galactic forces relied heavily on central coordination. Tae-Yang led a boarding team onto Valth's flagship. The Valorian soldiers were skilled and well-equipped, but they had never fought humans in close quarters. Each human was stronger, faster, and more aggressive than any opponent they had faced. Within an hour, Tae-Yang's team controlled the flagship's engineering section. This is insane, a captured Valorian officer said to Tae-Yang. You're winning, but half your ships are destroyed. Your casualties are enormous. Why do you keep fighting? Because we're not dead yet, Tae-Yang answered. Across the battle space, human ships continued their assault. A Valorian cruiser destroyed the Earth vessel Dawn Chaser. Before the cruiser could celebrate, another human ship, badly damaged, crashed into it at full speed. Both vessels exploded. Valth watched from his backup command center as his fleet began to break. They had destroyed 23 human ships. They should have won, but they had lost more than 100 of their own vessels, and the humans showed no signs of stopping. 40% casualties, his tactical officer reported. Supreme Commander, we must retreat. These losses are catastrophic. We outnumber them 3-1 still, Valth protested. It doesn't matter. They'll kill us all. They don't stop. They don't surrender. They just keep coming. For the first time in his military career, Valth felt fear, not of death but of an enemy that valued victory over survival. Signal retreat, he said quietly. The Valorian fleet withdrew in disorder, their formation shattered. Humanity had won its first space battle. On the Unity's bridge, Sion-Hee watched them go. Around her, the crew was silent. They had won. They had also lost half their fleet and thousands of their people. Get me a casualty report, Sion-Hee ordered, and prepare rescue operations for survivors. Hana stood beside her, tears running down her face. We won. Why doesn't it feel like victory? Because we're human, Sion-Hee said softly. We understand the cost of war. That's what makes us different from them. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread. Humanity, the newcomer species, had defeated the Valorian Empire. But the details of how they won terrified other species even more than the victory itself. They fought like they had nothing to lose. They accepted terrible casualties without breaking. They turned their own deaths into weapons. The galaxy now faced a question that would reshape interstellar politics. What do you do with a species that refuses to be conquered? 6 months had passed since the Battle of Earth. The Galactic Council chamber was more crowded than it had been in centuries. Representatives from every member species attended, along with observers from dozens of unaligned worlds. The topic of discussion: what to do about humanity. Yunji stood at the speaker's platform, feeling hundreds of eyes watching her. As Earth's newly appointed ambassador, she carried the weight of representing her entire species. The pressure was immense. Honored counselors, she began, I stand before you as a representative of humanity. We know that our victory over the Valorian Empire has caused fear across the galaxy. We know that many of you see us as a threat. Today, I hope to change that perception. A tall, crystalline being near the front spoke up. Your species destroyed a fleet that had never known defeat. You did so with inferior numbers and technology. You accepted 49% casualties without surrendering. How can we not see you as a threat? Because you misunderstand what you witnessed, Yunji replied. You saw humans fight with determination and courage. You interpreted this as aggression. But consider, we fought because we were attacked. We never initiated conflict. Every human military action has been defensive. Counselor Vex, who had survived the battle, clicked his mandibles. Defensive or not, your species demonstrated a capacity for violence that exceeds anything in modern galactic history. You are warriors without equal. We are survivors, Yunji corrected. There's a difference. Elder Counselor Eve, the oldest member of the council, spoke for the first time. His voice was like ancient wood creaking. Ambassador, help us understand. Your species evolved on what we call a death world. You developed through constant warfare. You possess physical capabilities that seem superhuman to us, yet you claim you seek peace. How can all these things be true? Yunji took a breath. This was the moment she had prepared for. Let me tell you a story about humanity. 40,000 years ago, my ancestors encountered another species on Earth. Wolves. They were apex predators, dangerous and wild. Most species would have competed with them or driven them to extinction. Instead, humans did something different. We befriended them. She pulled up an image of a human child playing with a dog. We turned our greatest predators into our most loyal companions. Through patience, empathy, and cooperation, we formed a bond that crossed species boundaries. We call this pack bonding. It's one of humanity's defining characteristics. A small mouse-like alien spoke up. But wolves are from your world. Of course you could bond with them. That's what makes humans unique, Hana said, standing to support Yunji. She carried data files from Proxima Trade Station. At Proxima, 14 humans fought 30 raiders to protect alien civilians. The raiders were humanoid? The civilians were not. But the humans didn't hesitate. They saw beings who needed help and they helped. She displayed footage from the incident. The council watched in silence as young Mi took a plasma burn while shielding an alien child. As Hyunwoo treated wounded beings from species he had never met before. As humans fought and bled for strangers. This is the truth about humanity, Yoonji continued. Yes, we are strong. Yes, we can fight. But our strength comes from our desire to protect, not to conquer. We evolved in groups, taking care of each other. That instinct extends beyond our species. When we see someone in need, we help. It doesn't matter if they're human or not. Vex stood up. I have fought humans. I have seen their fury in battle. You cannot deny their capacity for violence. I don't deny it, Yoonji said. Humans are capable of great violence. But we're also capable of great compassion. The question isn't whether we can fight. The question is why we fight. And we fight to protect. Taeyang joined them at the platform. He still wore bandages from the battle. I'm a soldier. I've spent my life training for combat. But do you know what my training emphasized above all else? Rules of engagement. Minimizing civilian casualties. Protecting the innocent. Human warriors are taught that strength brings responsibility. The stronger you are, the more careful you must be. Minseok stepped forward with more data. I've studied galactic history. For the last 1,000 years, warfare has been ritualized and limited. Species fight until casualties reach 2 to 3%, then someone surrenders. This works because everyone agrees to these rules. But there's a problem with this system. What problem? A counselor asked. Pirates, raiders, slavers. They don't follow your rules. They prey on weak species, taking what they want because no one can stop them. Your entire galactic order relies on the Valorian Empire to enforce peace. But the Valorians can't be everywhere. And now you know they can be defeated. The chamber erupted in concerned voices. Minseok waited for silence before continuing. Humanity can offer a solution. We can be what the galaxy needs. Protectors who won't break under pressure. Warriors who fight not for conquest but for peace. You want to be our soldiers? A counselor asked, horrified. We want to be your guardians, Daehyun corrected, joining the group. The galaxy has thousands of peaceful species who can't defend themselves. Pirates attack your trade routes. Raiders assault your colonies. You need someone willing to stand between the innocent and those who would harm them. That's what humans do best. Admiral Seon-hee walked slowly to the platform. She moved carefully, still recovering from injuries. I commanded Earth's forces during the battle. I made decisions that cost thousands of lives. I carry that weight every day. But I would make the same choices again, because the alternative was slavery. The galaxy sees us as fearsome warriors. You're right, we are. But that makes us uniquely qualified to protect those who can't protect themselves. Jiwon brought up a tactical display. We propose the formation of a guardian fleet, human-led but multi-species. We'll patrol trade routes, respond to pirate attacks, protect colonies, and provide disaster relief. We won't conquer. We won't claim territory. We'll just keep people safe. And what do you want in return? Vex asked suspiciously. Full membership in the Galactic Council, Yoonji said, as equals, not as protected species. We want to trade, to share knowledge, to build friendships across the galaxy. We want what we asked for from the beginning. A place among the stars where we can live freely. Elder Counselor Eve studied the humans for a long moment. You are asking us to trust you, to give weapons and authority to the most dangerous species the galaxy has seen in millennia. Yes, Yoonji admitted. I know how that sounds. But consider, we've never attacked anyone who didn't attack us first. We've never enslaved another species. Our entire history shows that we're at our best when we're protecting others. Give us a chance to prove it. The debate that followed lasted 3 days. Some counselors argued for quarantining Earth. Others wanted to continue trying to defeat humanity militarily. Still others saw the opportunity Yoonji presented. Finally, Elder Counselor Eve called for a vote. All in favor of granting humanity full council membership and authority to form a guardian fleet? The vote was close. Many species were still afraid. But enough counselors recognized the truth. Humanity was here to stay, and it was better to have them as allies than enemies. The measure passes, Eve announced. Welcome to the Galactic Council, Ambassador Yoonji. May your species prove worthy of our trust. 5 years later, the galaxy had transformed in ways no one expected. The Guardian fleet patrolled peacefully, with human ships leading joint species crews. Piracy had dropped by 70% in patrolled sectors. Raiders learned to avoid routes protected by humans, not because humans were cruel or violent, but because they simply would not stop until civilians were safe. Young Mai ran a cultural exchange program, helping aliens understand humans and humans understand aliens. She discovered that once species got to know each other, fear turned to friendship. Humans bonded with aliens the same way they bonded with wolves millennia ago, through patience, empathy, and genuine care. Jiwan taught tactical thinking at the new Galactic Defense Academy. Students from a dozen species learned not just how to fight, but why to fight. They learned that true strength came from protecting others, not dominating them. Hyunwoo continued trading, but now he served as an informal ambassador. Everywhere he went, people knew him as the man who fought raiders at Proxima. They asked him questions. Why did you risk your life for strangers? His answer never changed. Because they needed help. Admiral Seon-hee commanded a joint species fleet that responded to disasters across the galaxy. When a plague struck the Novan colonies, human medics worked around the clock to save lives. When earthquakes destroyed 3 cities on Terrace Prime, human rescue workers pulled survivors from rubble for days without rest. The galaxy learned that human determination worked both ways. They would fight to protect others, and they would work tirelessly to help others. On a council observation station, Seon-hee and Elder Counselor Eve watched human and alien children playing together. The humans taught the aliens Earth games. The aliens shared their own cultures. Laughter echoed through the corridors in a dozen different sounds. We feared you, Eve said quietly. When you first arrived, we saw only danger. A species from a death world shaped by warfare, stronger than any we had known. We thought you would conquer us. I understand why, Seon-hee replied.